and welcome to another episode of Homain TV. This is the second episode that I'm doing with this subject, which is the submissions of composers from the subreddit Composer in Reddit. And I'm doing reviews about their engraving, composition, and different stuff regarding notation. And I really hope that you enjoy it. Let's go. All right, so let's start with the first piece. And it's from Gabriel Gouillon. I think I'm hopefully saying your name right. It's for choir setup, SATB, and it's called Chanson Populaire Imaginaires. I hope I am saying it correctly. But all right, let's go. I really like it, and well done. And a lot of versatility and different textures. I think this is how it should be done. To have a piece with very different stuff happening in it, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, so let's see what stuff we can improve and some suggestions compositionally. Okay, so let's see. We're going to start here. So the best practice is to always write tempo marking, and also write an expression in front of your dynamics too, because you want to inspire people. You know, when they see the score, they want to see, oh, this is the feeling and this is what you're going for. So it really helps, and it's inspiring, and also it's correct to do it. So did you know that you can now become a member in my YouTube channel? And you might say, why would I do that? Well, first of all, you support me to make more content, and even more and with better quality. And you can also get a lot of cool perks. For example, early access or a one-on-one session with me through Discord, and a lot more cool stuff. So I look forward to seeing you in the Discord server. And if you have any questions, let me know. And now let's start with some performing ideas, and to see something, is it performable or is it difficult? So in general, always, whenever you guys want to write choral music, vocal music, whatever it is, make sure that you give the first note super easy. So the entrance note must come to the singers like this, okay? They don't have to think about it. They don't have to, I mean, not they don't have to, but they shouldn't, because it's so fragile, like singing, that the whole point is to just give the note to them, and they can just hear it and start from that entrance note, and then they move on, okay? So, for example, in the beginning here, I'm gonna put the pen tool here. So, for example, you have this B flat here, right? And when they hear it once, and if they practiced it before, definitely they practiced it, they're gonna sing this super nice. And also you have this B flat here, okay? And this A, they can try to get it for here, you see? So this is how they can find their pitches. If they, for example, forget, or sometimes you might be a bit clumsy, and so this is pretty good, for the entrances. But then, which we're gonna go further more to this notes and stuff. But then some jumps might be a bit difficult to do. For example, this D to this E natural, it might be a bit difficult for an average singer. I know you might be saying, I can sing it yourself, or the composer, but we're not the singers. Imagine yourself, you're just giving it to the choir, in a church, next to your school, or outside, anywhere. And if they see this, they're gonna panic a bit. And the thing is, even if they do it, they might be off with the intonation a bit, okay? So be careful with this stuff. I'm not saying don't write it, but really be careful and know which group you are writing it for, okay? So if they're professionals, it's a bit different than an average choir group, okay? And the other thing, this is actually, I think we discussed it in the last video, but look, if you are immediately, let me zoom in a bit. If you're immediately saying this E natural here, you're putting this E natural here, and then you have an E flat here, this doesn't make sense. So, because why would you put this here in the first place? Even though it might, the center of your modal tone or something would match this doesn't make sense. So don't do this. It would make more sense to have it, at least to me, okay? This is also a taste thing. Just to have the B flat here and then the E flat in the score, which then even tells more the audience that, hey, I'm a different key, okay, than you're seeing. So they might be a bit curious and they try to figure out what key they are doing it in. But still, this is up to you, and I give it for the taste, because this part is a bit debatable. Now let's go a bit down. Oh yeah, the other thing which is here, always, you see I wrote here, where does it go? Always write where your dynamics go, okay? So this is fine, mezzo piano, goes a bit higher, you know, natural. But then here, how higher is it there? You know, don't leave anything for the conductor or for speculation, okay? Because if you leave it for the musicians to do it, they're going to do whatever they want, you know, because if you don't say it, then you're going to be like, okay, we can do whatever they want. Maybe they go to forte, you know? So always be precise and write as much as you can about these informations, because it doesn't hurt to have more info. Now, let me zoom back a bit here. Oh yeah, so about your first movement, you know what I kind of lacked here. I loved it, you know. It's also stuck. Some of your melodies, you guys, like, it's stuck in my head because I listened to it before when I'm writing things. So I really love it, the melody, and then the way you dee da dee da dee ba dee. This is amazing. But then I'm like, what I missed a bit here is a bit of a conclusion, you know. So in the first movement, it was going somewhere, but then it's like you're telling a story, but at some point it just stopped. So I was like, why would you stop when it's doing so great and you're telling such a great story? And to me, it was kept a little bit in the air. And well, of course, you can do multiple different things. You can again come back to this movement as your another movement or in the ending, and give it a little bit of a different twist and say, hey, this is the conclusion to that. Or you can make it longer a bit and also use this motive that you have here. And imagine how much cooler it would be if, for example, at some point everybody is doing this la 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 la, you know, but soft. And or everybody is doing it, but it's just going quite gradually out. Imagine if they are continuously doing this texture, the same thing, okay? So I'm going to put it here. And this thing is just going to go and go, but then finishes off gradually. So this is the sopranos, this is the altos, this is the tenors, and this is the bass. Like really, really soft. Da, da, like a lullaby, you know? So work on this a little bit to get to that point of a finishing, because for me, it could have had a little bit of more polish to this movement, all right? Let's see. Oh yeah, some notation things. For example, you have this E here. Is it E flat, or let me move it. Is it E flat or it's E natural? Because you have E flat here, E natural here. So again, put stuff in your score. Don't be shy with these things. And what you can do is that you can also put it in a parenthesis. So say, hey, I know you know, but this is like a reminder for you that this is a flat or a natural. Okay, don't leave to speculation. Because, for example, you have this natural and flat here. They might say, hey, what is this happening here? Okay, let's go a bit more. The entrance note, again, might be difficult, but because you have E here and then you have G here, but because it's slow, it's doable. And also they can use a tuner or something, or they just practice it and they can do it, okay? And the next thing here would be that it's not really necessary to put a 1/4 here, because the thing is, here, to me as a listener and as someone, as a composer, to review your score, it wasn't clear to me that, is this an upbeat or is this a strong beat? Because when you put a 1/4 with a forte, it sounds like a downbeat, right? But if you don't put, but when I'm hearing it, it actually sounds like an upbeat. You know, for example, here, it definitely sounds like an upbeat to me, you know, but it's louder. So this is fine, okay? And you can also do the same thing here. So if you make this into a 4/4, then you have a upbeat here. And also it can be performed forte, okay, if you mean it as an upbeat. So if this bar is a 4/4, then this goes away, and less complexity here, and then you have a D, da, D, then you have again the 4/4, and just beautifully it just goes on, you know, so you have less complexity in your score. And I love these chromatic stuff. These are like super doable and very nicely written, and it's immediately doable. Let's go down a bit. Oh, this may be because I think you're French, right? If I'm not assuming, or from Belgium. So lent in general might be that what you think, like the slower thing. Maybe it's culturally there, you guys put it lent, but you can also just put a meno mosso, you know, like a tempo you want it to be a little slower. So meno mosso would make sense to write instead of lent or lento, because it's such a tiny movement. And look here as well, you have the 1/4 here. It's like this is a bit contradictory to this guy here, because this is really an upbeat here, but this can also be an upbeat. You know, the 4/4, then it might confuse your singers a little bit, all right? This part here might be very high for the basses, okay? Now I know, look, sometimes you see in like professional scores, like, you know, I don't know, Benjamin Britten or whatever, you see a lot of choir stuff that they write quite like the extended ranges. But for example, I'm a bass and I have sang in like different choirs, and I'm a low bass. This is to me, it's very difficult, or maybe not doable, you know, like I have to go really high, and the sound will not be beautiful, you know, the sound will not be mezzo forte beautiful. It's the sound, the color of the sound will be changed into something that's pushed outside, you know, so it's not what you want. I think you want it to be very gentle and calm, but this is going to be very pushed and high pitched for, you know, it's like climbing out of a well or something. Another thing, yeah, divisi here and unison, this is not necessary to write here. Divisi and unison, you only write it, for example, with strings. So with choir settings, you don't need it. They would know. They would know that this is just two voices, and they would sing it. So it's not really necessary to do this. And also, well, let me tell you the reason also, because on string instruments, you can also play two strings at the same time. And if you don't put a divisi, all of the players, like imagine you have 10 violins, for example, they're going to play two strings on their violin. But if you put divisi, conductor knows, hey, okay, 5 of you, you're going to play the B, the other 5 are going to play the G or whatever, the second note, you know, so it's going to be separated. So here, it's not necessary, okay? Oh yeah, here, I don't know if it's really necessary to write a mezzo-soprano, okay? Because, look, imagine yourself in a setting, like a choir setting, that they're just rehearsing, and at some point, the conductor is like, okay, sopranos, you know, one group, mezzo-sopranos, another group, altos go to another group, you know? So they have to make a division again in them, or be like, hey, what's your range? And then they'll be like, okay, this, that. Like to make it divisible, you know, divisible, divisible, yeah, I think, you know, to separate them. So I would say this is making a bit complicated for what you're doing right now here. So you can just keep it with a soprano and just write it as another voice, or just write it in like the same as you wrote above, you know, with one stem up and just everything there. It just works great. And you don't really need to do this, because if you write something like this, it should really absolutely make sense. Like for example, you're going to do something with the mezzo-sopranos later, and only the mezzo-sopranos can do that. Then you divide it to mezzo-soprano, because then you say, okay, see, I gave you a special score for this part, okay? Oh yeah, and also make sure to write what is the reason for this higher pitch, because if I see that, I would say, if I normally see that, this is like a recommendation. Okay, let me zoom in so you guys can see that. Yeah, So I would say this is just a recommendation, okay? But then I thought, okay, if it's a recommendation of a pitch, so you're saying either saying a G flat or a B flat, then your harmony will change, you know, because it's also the bass. So it's going to be a bit tricky, okay? So make sure to write what this is in your performing notes in the beginning of your piece. And also, I really, really love it here that you made a movement that is lower, no, not lower, but less dense in a terms of your instrumentation, or well, the instrumentation, I mean the density of your piece. So imagine all the time there were all of the singers, but then suddenly you have this very, very sweet and funky melody here, okay? And then it finishes here, then you jump to the full again, which I suggest you can still keep it. You can still play around with it, you know, that they would just group by group do this, you know, and then a little bit they sing here, a little bit and they sing there. And then at your climax, they go to here, you know, and it would be really fun. Like this ho-ho here, this can also be really fun that they would do it even like just pause here, nothing here, and then ho-ho, and then nothing, ho-ho, you know, it would be really cool. All right, and I think that was it for your piece. I really liked it. Well done. Let me see. Yeah, okay, I think that was it for this video. It was quite a long journey, but if you liked it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you have pieces for me to check out, or you want me to review them, you can always send them to me. There's a whole list going on, but I'm gradually going one by one. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. Take care, and till next time.